So, hey everyone. My name's Charlie. I'm the VSFS intern, and so today I'll be talking about college life in the United States, specifically my experience in college life at Washington University. I'm a sophomore there. But before I kind of get into what it's like at my campus, I wanted to do a quick a little bit of trivia, and so I'm gonna need everyone to get a little interactive in the chat. So the way it's gonna work, I'm gonna put up a question up here. And then you need to put in either 1, 2, 3, or 4, whichever one you think the answer is. I think this one, it might have slipped a little bit if you were paying attention earlier. I think I accidentally skipped ahead in the slides. But which school has the most undergraduates? So which school out of all the schools in the United States is the largest with the most undergraduates? So type in the chat which one you think the answer is. No Googling or cheating. Just give me your best guess as to which one you think is going to be the largest. All right, everyone. So type in chat. Okay. So if you think it's Ohio State, you put in 1. If you think it's University of Central Florida, put 2. If you think it's Texas A&M, put 3. And if you think it's University of Georgia, put 4. Let's see what everyone's thinking. I see a lot of 2s, a lot of 1s. Someone said 4. So I'm from Ohio, so I'm a little bit of Ohio State fan. I'll give it a minute or two. Anyone else want to guess? Any last minute guesses? All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what the answer is. So no one actually guessed it. It's Texas A&M University. It was University of Central Florida up until this past year, but now it's Texas A&M surpassed them. They have 67,580 undergraduates, which is huge. Ohio State's the 3rd largest. Georgia's somewhere on the list, but they're very well known, and they're definitely a big university. They're known for their football team for sure. Let's go to the next question. We ready for the next one? All right. Which university has a religious affiliation? So which university is religious? All right, so go ahead and type in the chat which one you think the answer is. No cheating. So give me your best guess as to which one you think it is. All right. Come on, everyone. I need some more guesses. Okay. Someone thinks it's Case Western. I'm seeing a lot of 1s. Okay, I'll give. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's see what the answer is. A lot of y'all got this one. It's Georgetown University. They're a Catholic university, more specifically a Jesuit university. The rest are private universities, but they're not religious universities. Though I'm sure, I know Harvard for sure was religious at one time, and I wouldn't be surprised if the other two were at some point in their university's history. Oh. I think that one showed a little bit there if you were paying attention. But which is an all-female college? If you want to guess real quick, we'll speed this one along because I think I accidentally showed it. But which is an all-female college? It's going to be Smith College. And Wabash College is actually an all-male college. So there's 4 all-male colleges in the United States, and I think there's upwards of 60 all-female colleges in the United States. So a few more fun facts about some colleges in the United States. 14 of the 25 largest sports stadiums in the world belong to American college football teams. So if that gives you a little insight into how big sports, in particular football, can be in America, that's and it varies from school to school. Like my school, we're not really super into football. We have a football team, but not everyone shows up to the games. At some other schools, like probably like University of Georgia or Ohio State University, football is going to be a really crucial component of a lot of students' life on that campus, and you'll hear about it. And going to games will be something that a lot of people do. And there's over 4,000 accredited colleges and universities in the U.S., and they enroll over 15 million students and each year and grant over 2 million degrees a year. So that kind of shows you the scale of how many different schools there are. And Harvard's the oldest university in the United States, but my school over here, we're the 9th oldest in the United States. So as you can see here, there's so many different types of universities and types of experiences that you can have. You can go to a single gender school. You can go to a school that's really into football, a school that's really large, or a school that has some sort of religious affiliation. And even at that same institution, two students can have completely different experiences. So student life, when you're thinking about where do I want to go to school, you're going to want to think about kind of what you want your student life to look like and which university has the opportunities for you to craft that universe or that student life on their campus. So now I want to do a quick, brief virtual tour of my campus, so you can kind of get a little look and insight into what it's like for me on my campus. And a lot of the things on my campus are things that you'll find at most campuses across the US. So it'll give you a better idea of what it might be like to actually attend university. So over here, this is the view of what we call the colonnade at my campus. It's a very beautiful brick historic. This is University Chapel. And if we want to look a little more at some of the photos, we're named after George Washington, who's you can see a statue up there. This is graduation on our front lawn. So your orientation's inside of University Chapel right there, and graduation. So this is where your orientation would be in University Chapel. That's the president of our university, and then graduation would be over here. So that's a little look into what that looks like. Now let's take you over here. So this is our Center for Global Learning. So this is a place with a lot of resources. We have different student organizations on campus that this building supports. This is also a place where if you're trying to study abroad, so in addition to coming to school in the United States, there's a lot of opportunities to go study elsewhere while still attending the same university. So if you want to go study somewhere else in Europe or go and study in Asia, there's a lot of different opportunities for that and funding at a lot of these different universities. And then we have a little coffee shop in here as well. And so this is one of the dining options we have on campus. Most campuses are going to have multiple dining options. So there'll be like a main place you go and eat, and then there'll be smaller places with other options for you. There's a question in the chat. And so there's dining options here, but you can see there's also a lot of people studying here. So one piece of advice I'd say is when you go and visit the campus, look around and see if there's any like cool little spots where you could see yourself studying like these students, and find a good place to do some of your homework. So let's take a look at the Science Center. So anyone interested in STEM, most schools have some sort of major science building, or depending on the size of the university, science buildings, and opportunities to do research. So if we go in here, I think you should be able to see the IQ Center a little bit. So this is a place on our campus where we have this ability to build these 3D models, do a bunch of research in here, and it's a really interesting place and the hub for a lot of STEM students on campus. So that's the Science Center, and like I said, you can expect some sort of building or buildings on most campuses to be kind of the hub of your research and your science work. This is our library, so this is where most people do their studying. As you can see over here, this is kind of a little better picture into what it might look like while on campus in the library. People sleep in too because they probably just pulled an all-nighter doing homework or something. And there's people studying and doing homework, and this is a pretty standard library across. Some might be more modern across other schools, but there's access to books. There's a help desk. Usually the university librarians are very helpful. At every university, there'll be university librarians, and they can be extremely helpful, helping you with your research and whatever project or paper you're doing. Let's take a look here. So let's talk about food. That's one of my favorite topics. Over here, that's actually my PE basketball coach right there. But this is a pretty standard campus dining facility. So this is our main dining service, but there's a daily dish over there. This is a sandwich line. You can get pizza over there. Salad line is right over here. There's some fruit and soup over there. And there's desserts right there. So this is a pretty standard dining facility and kind of what you can expect. They have everything you'll need. And it depends on the university. most have some sort of meal plan that's required as a first year. So you'll have to go and you'll get this swipe card. This is what mine looks like, and you'll swipe for meals. And then they'll also have a certain like dollar amount, like we call ours flex. At some universities, it'll allow you to go out into the community and shop there, or they'll have like chain restaurants, like on some campuses will have. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Chick-fil-A, restaurants like that where you can use some of the money that's already preloaded onto your card to swipe. And that's what a dining option looks like at a lot of schools. So let's check out the residence hall. So this is my residence hall. This is where I live as an RA and a sophomore. And so this is what it looks like from the outside, but let me show you from the inside. So so where you live and what it looks like in your dorm varies so much from campus to campus. It also can vary a lot, as I'll show you in a bit, from year to year. So as a first year, your living experience might be entirely different than what it's like when you're a junior or a senior. And at some universities, you can live off campus, and at some universities, you don't even have guaranteed housing all 4 years, and you'll have to live off campus at some point. So that depends from school to school, and that might be something, depending on what you want, that you'll want to look into as you're looking at your different universities. So this is an example of a first year dorm. This is a double, so 2 people live here. It's a little tight space, and then there'll be a communal bathroom on the hall, which that's just an example of one sort of housing arrangement that universities have. Let me take you, let's go explore another kind of housing arrangement over here. So this is where a lot of our third years live, and as you can see, these are completely different than those first year dorms. It's more like apartment style living. Looking in here, you can see there'll be bedrooms upstairs, and then this is more of a communal living space. They have their own kitchen. There's a bathroom there. There's this communal space where you can watch TV and sit and hang out. And so even on the same campus, the kind of living is completely different. And where you'll be, wherever you're staying, that's where you'll be for an entire year at a time. So where you live might be very important to you. And so I would take that into account and kind of see, what do the dorms actually look like? What are the residence halls? And what can I expect to live in when I'm going as a student there? And take that into account in your decision making. Let's see if there's anything else I really want to show over here. And then just the town too. So some schools are in the middle of a city. So for example, if anyone's looking at NYU, New York University, or Boston University, those schools are going to be almost merged in together with the university. It'll be hard to find like something that feels like your traditional college campus, just because they're right downtown in the city, merged in with it. Other schools like Columbia University, for example, they're in a city, but they have more of a campus feel, even though they're right in the middle of a city. Others like Tufts University, for example, they're just outside of a city. So Tufts is just outside of Boston. And it really feels more like a rural college campus, even though you're really close to Boston. And then there's others, for example, like my university, that we're just in a small little town in downtown Lexington. And it's more of a rural college campus. And if we want to get to a city, the nearest city of somewhat size is like an hour away. And the nearest big city is DC, which is about 3 hours away from our campus. So keep that in mind too when you're looking, like, do I want to be in a city? Do I want to be more on a rural campus? Do I want my activities to be on campus? Or do I want to be doing activities within an actual city? And like, how does that influence where I'm trying to go to school? Do I want to be up north where it gets cold during the wintertime? Or do I want to try and go on the West Coast, go to UC, one of the UC schools, or go to school down south at Texas A&M, for example, where it might be a little warmer year round. All right, that's all I have with the virtual tour, but I'm going to go back to the presentation. So now I want to go through a few photos and kind of talk a little bit about some crucial elements of my student life. And once again, a lot of these elements you'll find at whatever university you attend. So over here, this is a picture from my pre-orientation trip. A lot of schools offer this, it's an opportunity for you to go and meet students and come in with a group. So if you go attend a university and they offer pre-orientation trips, I would highly recommend doing it because it gives you an automatic group of friends. For example, Mohammed here, his mom's from Belarus actually. He's one of my best friends to this day, and he was on my pre-orientation trip. So here's it's a little blurry, but here's a picture from our acapella group's performance. This was last year at Parents Weekend. So I'm in an acapella group, an all-male acapella group, and we'll do performances throughout the year. And acapella is it's like singing without instrument, or and so if anyone's interested in singing or the arts, it's a pretty popular thing to do in college, and every school is going to have some sort of acapella group. I'm also I'm involved in musical theater, and so this is a performance or the picture from last year's musical theater performance. So there's opportunities depending on the university to get involved in the arts as well. In this capacity, some schools are specific, like Juilliard, for example, is specific to the arts, and some schools, like mine, a small liberal arts college, doesn't have as strict requirements for participating in theater. So even though I'm not studying any theater of any sort, I can still perform in the musical. Here's a picture of a carnival that I organized. I was on the student government last year, and so I put together this carnival. And so this is kind of an example. It was a little dreary day, so don't pay attention to the clouds. But an example of what an activity might look like during the day that you could go and go to. So there's a food truck there, there's inflatables, a mechanical pool back there. There's like a jousting area over there. So this is kind of the thing that might happen on your campus randomly that you could go attend and keep you entertained. This is a picture of me and a group from it's called the Blue Ridge Miles, involved from last year. And it was a service organization in town that helped people restore their driving privileges. So we would go and guide them through the drive, like you need your driver's license to drive a car. And so if they had that taken away for any reason, we would help them go through the process of reinstating it. And so that's what this organization did that I was involved in. So that's just another example of how you can be involved on campus. This is a club I started on my campus. And once again, like, it's just another example of all the ways you can get involved. And if there's not a club or organization on campus, there's almost always a route to making that club on campus. And that's actually one thing I recommend framing in your application sometimes is like, hey, I noticed the university doesn't have this. And so this is something I can bring to campus. And so keep that in mind too, when you're looking at applying to these schools, like what's the process look like to start a club if they don't have a club, but that I really, really want to bring there. And maybe that can differentiate me in my application. Here's a picture of the view of the mountains from my campus. So this is what it looks like, the overlook, and watching the mountains. It's beautiful. And that goes back to the idea of like, do I want to go to university in a place that has all these hikes and trails that's great for the outdoors, but doesn't have all the benefits of a city? Or do I want to be somewhere where I can go and I can meet a bunch of different people in downtown New York or Boston or one of these big cities and explore the city and try all these different restaurants? And so like you'll have to consider that and think about that and where you're applying to these schools. Or maybe you want somewhere in between that has more of a suburban feel, like maybe like Swarthmore, for example, which is a bit outside of Philadelphia, but enough outside that it's got more of a suburban feel. It doesn't feel like you're isolated or in a very rural place, but it also doesn't feel like you're in a city. Here's a picture of me and two of my best friends in our fraternity house. So another thing that it varies from school to school. Some schools don't have, it's called Greek life at all. And some it's very big. So at our campus, upwards of 70% of the student body, excuse me, is involved in Greek life, as it's called. So the way Greek life works is there's these fraternities and sororities, and you have the opportunity to join as a potential new member. So you'll explore the opportunities, and you'll go through what's called Rush, which is like the process of going and meeting the different fraternities, if you're a guy, or sororities if you're a girl. And It's basically a group of friends is probably the best way to put it. And they'll hold social events. And so that's where you'll spend a lot of your free time. It'll be the group of people that are probably your closest friends. And so that's what it means to be in a fraternity or sorority, is to join that group of people and go and there's usually some sort of social event that goes with it. And then there's also some schools. Our school doesn't have it, but a lot of other schools have these things called business fraternities. And so that's more, it's still social, but it's more focused on the networking aspect of it and the business opportunities and connections that come from being a member of that business fraternity. So you'll find those at a lot of larger schools too, the business fraternities, and there's more specialized fraternities and sororities on larger and different campuses. So that's another thing you'll want to consider going in. It's like, do I want to be a part of one of these social organizations on these campuses? Do I want to be on a campus where that's a big part? Because maybe if I'm not a part of it and it's a big role on the campus, you can feel a little isolated or left out. So like maybe you'll want to consider that too as you're applying to these different schools. So here's another just example of, this is a bile. So this was thrown by going back to CGL, the Center for Global Learning. This was an event thrown by them, and there were a bunch of people there. It was like a big dance. So that's just a picture from there, and another example of something that can keep you entertained throughout the school year, a social event. And then this is a picture from last year's fancy dress, which is we have the oldest collegiate ball at Washington and Lee, but it's just this huge, big. It's almost like prom, if you're familiar with prom. It's like prom, but for college for us. And so this is something that's more unique to our university, but it just goes to show that there's so many different ways that you can get involved, that you can have fun on campus, and you just need to find a place that has those opportunities for you to get involved in the way you want to. So now I'm going to open the floor to questions. You can type in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask. But I'd love to answer any questions anyone has.